Now, Mr. Speaker, we have been given a 10-year period of maturity on these bonds that will be issued under the new arrangement from now to 2029. Now, if the fuller truth is heard, voices would be heard to admit that insofar as the external credit arrangements are concerned under this particular arrangement cited in the resolution before us, that the external creditors would seem to be taking a risk reduction approach to their agreeing with the position of the Barbados government. That is the approach you take. You reduce your risk, especially if you have been bitten once before, then you become twice shy. So you have to say to the people of Barbados, we were able to get only a 10-year period of maturity on our external bonds, external debt. It speaks to an unwillingness on the part of the creditors to hold out with Barbados. I'll put that in a better context, a broader context for you in a minute, because that is what it is suggesting. Some would say an agreement in 17 months is fast, and it speaks to confidence on the part of the external creditors in the Barbadian economy. Some would suggest, since you were given such a short period with respect to the maturity of these bonds, it speaks to a lack of confidence, a lack of significant confidence in the Barbados economy. Do you recall, Mr. Speaker, that local creditors were given 15-year bonds, period of maturity, 15 years? 15 years. Because the Barbados government is in a position to pressure local creditors to accept that. You can't get past, apparently, external creditors with that. So you have a very short payback time. Many of these instances, Mr. Speaker, run into 15, 20, 25, 30 years. We have 10 short years. 10 short years, Mr. Speaker. And
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the honourable member continues. I don't want to say he's demonstrating a lack of understanding. I think he's just being political, and I can understand that because we're all politicians. The constant reference to the 10 short years, I think, misleads the chamber and misleads the public. We've set ourselves as a government certain benchmarks to reach, and we know when we want to reach a debt to GDP ratio of 60%. The timeline that we've negotiated and agreed with the external creditors and the committee allows us to reach the targets that we set for ourselves in the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan. And so, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to constantly harp on 10 short years is to mislead the chamber into believing that those 10 years will stop us or will hinder our progress in reaching the target that we set for ourselves and that the IMF agreed with us on with the extended fund facility.
Well, continue, member.
We're getting there, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We're getting there. And the honourable member for St. Peter, I think, is establishing some distance between himself and he who runs behind him at the moment. We're getting there. Getting there, Mr. Speaker. Now, you see, in this debate, Mr. Deputy Speaker, all I'm saying is that the fuller truth, the fuller revelation has to be made. You don't come and say, I got a quick agreement in 17 months, where normally it would take 2 years and more. You don't come and say, this is a homegrown program that we are into it all. You don't just say that. You say the rest of it. and you put it in a broader context and bring some perspective. And 10 years is a short time. Now, I only mentioned the period of 10 years here 2 or 3 times, just on this point. And it upsets my honorable friend from St. Peter. Now, they come in here, each of them, every week, and refer to 10 lost years. 10 lost years. Lost decade. Same number 10. I only mention it twice. Period of 10 short years. And I only mention the point of 10 short years in relation to this particular arrangement a couple of times, and they must stand to their feet. Every member of that side of the House, every single time he or she speaks, refers to a lost decade, 10 lost years, 10 this, 10 that. They do not have a monopoly on the use of the number 10. So as I was saying before I was interrupted, local creditors were made to accept 15-year bonds, stretching well into 2035, long after some of them, unfortunately, would have died and passed on. That is the reality, Mr. Deputy Speaker.